Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Look, man, Fabio Wardley, one of my favorite fighters, gets in the ring, does the business. And what's so impressive about Fabio Wardley is he's had no amateur experience. He's just a guy with some heart and grit and determination. And look at what he's been able to do as a professional fighter. Now, one thing I'll say is, if he's out here thinking about having a summer fight with Jarrell Miller, look, Jarrell Miller is not a cherry pick, but he may be pretty cheap to get because he's not active. I don't think he'll get any other opportunities, even though he got robbed against Andy Ruiz. I just think people are holding against him. The fact that when you think of Jarrell Big Baby Miller, you think of him failing all them damn ped tests. But I will say this, for a guy like Wardley who's learning on the job, this could be a pretty even matchup because Jarrell Big Baby Miller was a kickboxer. But he's a pro fighter. He's done very well. Even an out-of-shape Jarrell Big Baby Miller did very well against Daniel Dubois. Even though he got stopped at the end, I mean, if he would have been in shape, I think that fight would have ended differently. But for Fabio Wardley, he's got to be careful fumbling around with Jarrell Big Baby Miller because Jarrell Big Baby Miller looked good against Andy Ruiz. I think if he comes back for a training camp to face Fabio Wardley, I think he knows what's on the line. And Fabio Wardley, because although he's learning on the job, there's an experience deficit there. And he could find himself in there with a guy who's overwhelming him and just keeps coming and coming and who hits hard as well. And Wardley could find himself in some spots where he's like, okay, what do I do here? And it doesn't come instinctively. And next thing you know, he's getting himself swarmed by Jarrell Big Baby Miller. Anyway, man, when you think about Frank Warren and what he's trying to do, the WBA title fight with Kubrat Pulev is what's supposed to be happening. But he just, this is why I told you, the heavyweight division is a mess. There's all kind of shit going on, all kind of talk behind the scenes. They're trying to figure out what to do with all these heavyweights. Nothing is straightforward. So now you're hearing that he could face Pulev, but if not, right? So there's a chance that doesn't happen. He could face a WBA ranked contender such as Jarrell Big Baby Miller, Michael Hunter, or Jared Anderson. Now, for me, I think Jarrell Miller, Hunter, I don't think they would go that route. Jared Anderson or Miller, to me, are the two front runners if Wardley's not going to fight Pulev. And out of all of them, I think the one who they may have the best relationship with and like the most, although some people just see him as a controversial figure, who was out here, man, again, fumbling around with the peds and shit, is Jarrell Big Baby Miller. He has a name. He's going to come to fight. He's going to sell the fight. And he's an interesting character. Plus, he has a good relationship with those guys. So I do think that Wardley, who's the number one contender in the WBA rankings, I just think it'd be very interesting to see if he could bring that momentum coming off the first round knockout win in the rematch with Frazier, right? If he could bring that momentum into his 20th fight against a guy like Jarrell Big Baby Miller. Now, after Miller fought Andy Ruiz, he kind of went into hiding. So I'm not so sure what he's going to do. But I do know if he gets an opportunity to fight Wardley, I think Miller will jump on it. I think he will jump on it. Now, when it comes to Pulev, I don't even know how he's still existing in boxing, but the bottom line is he's got the WBA regular title. And remember, Dubois had that title for a while. And you see what just having a regular title can do for a person's career and the trajectory of their career. It can get you into big fights and big opportunities. But more importantly, Frank Warren has all the damn connections to the secret society and Turkey al-Sheikh and everything else. So if you're a Frank Warren guy, you're going to get an opportunity. It puts you in the mix. It puts you in the stirring pot with all of the fighters, not only on British level, on world level. And that's where the direction Fabio Wardley is going right now. Anyway, let's see what they decide to do. If you ask me, Jarrell Miller would probably be the logical choice. If for some reason they don't put him in with Pulev, I think Wardley would beat Pulev. But if they choose to do something different and put somebody else to fight Pulev to try to pick up that title, because this is all it is. They're trying to see who's the guy we really want to win that title. Could be Joe Joyce. So you just don't know what Frank Warren's going to do, but you just don't know because every day shit's changing. And Turkey al-Sheikh even said that. What he was thinking I don't know who he was talking, David Benavidez or who was he talking to? He was like, they better not wait because every day something changed. Oh, Baval. Was it Baval and Bertabiev? Baval, Bertabiev, David Benavidez. I can't remember who it was Turkey said that about. But anyway, he says every day something changes. So that tells me that what we're seeing as far as the names being announced as the next possible opponent, that shit it's all fluid. But I do think Jarrell Big Baby Miller would be the logical opponent. It's just my opinion. And he may be a cherry pick to them as a fight they can win. But I don't think he is a cherry pick. But I do think they can get him for little to no money because he needs from my understanding, he needs the money. And I think he would do it because he believes in himself and believes he can beat Wardley. Anyway, y'all keep cool. I'm in the breeze.